Jesus loves me, he will stay close beside me all the way. He's prepared a home for me, and someday his face I'll see. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so.
Well, hello, Felix. I can see that you all dressed up. I wonder, children, can you guess who he is? Must we guess who you are, Felix? Okay, well, children, during the weekend, Felix really pestered me. He said to me, please tell me a story, please. Do you remember that, Felix? He was pestering me. He wanted me to tell him a story. And so in the end, I told you a story. Do you remember? And I guess when I look at you, you actually all dressed up like the person in the story. Is that true? Well, children, I wonder if you can guess who he is. Felix, are you from the New Testament? Then you must be from the Old Testament. Yes, okay, from the Old Testament, children. He looks like the people of that time that used to dress. I guess it was in Moses' time. Not Moses' time. Okay, was it Abraham's time? No, okay, it wasn't Abraham's time. Then where was it from, Felix? Give me a tip. Oh, it was during the kings, when the Israel had kings. Oh, okay, so you're one of those people there. Okay, so let's think now. You're not Moses, because you see, Moses had a staff, and I see you got a staff. And Moses sang, do you know that Moses sang? Well, you have a staff, and I see you got a musical instrument there. And the musical instrument, that's given us a clue. Children, can you guess who Felix is? Felix, you sing. What kind of songs do you sing? Oh, he sings psalms. Psalms are songs, are they? Yes. And give me one song that you sang. Give me a psalm. Let me hear. Oh, the one of the Good Shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. Yes, okay, the Lord is my shepherd. Who wrote that, children? Who wrote that song? And what song was that again? What psalm? Children, can you guess? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I think, can I go look at the Bible to see which psalm it is? I can't. Okay, is it a well-known one? Okay, children, can you guess? Yes, I know what it is. Is it Psalm 23? Okay, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay, who wrote that one? Okay, we got a clue. You look like a person that's like in the Old Testament. You've got a staff, but you're not Moses. And you've got a musical instrument. I need another tip. The Lord is my shepherd. Oh, are you a shepherd boy? Okay, I know you're a shepherd boy. And you did you have brothers? Yes. And was your father's name Jesse? Oh, I know who he is. Children, do you know who he is? You David. Yeah, you David. That's correct. Okay, well, I told you a story. I remember I told you a story about David. So you all dressed up. You got a staff. And I know what you use the staff for. You use the staff to look after the sheep. And you've got a musical instrument. And I remember it was a harp. Oh, yes. And you used to love singing. But the story that I want to tell you today is found in 1 Samuel chapter 17. And it's about a prophet. I wonder if you can guess who the prophet was. Can you guess who the prophet was? Well, think of where I'm going to be reading out. 1 Samuel. Can you now guess who the prophet is? Yes, that's correct. It's Samuel. Now, anyway, Samuel goes one day to the house of Jesse. That's David's father. And God had told him, I want you to go there because out of the house of Jesse, I want you to choose the next king. Do you remember who the other king was? It was Saul. Do you remember that? Well, Saul, Saul was an incredible king. He was a tall king. He used to stand head and shoulders above all the other men. Felix, he was tall and he was strong and he was handsome. And he made out to be a good king. Don't you think so? Well, God sent Samuel to Jesse's house and he said, okay, I want you to choose the next king to be the next king over Israel. And he goes there and the oldest brother comes, and the older brother is tall and he's strong. And Samuel thought, oh, this is the one. Do you remember? Yes, but then it wasn't. It wasn't him. And then the next brother came and the next brother came. And finally, all the brothers were there, and God didn't tell him, no, not one of those. He was allowed to anoint to make the next king. So do you remember, Samuel turns to Jesse and he says, do you have any other children? He says, yes, there's one in the field. His name is, do you remember what his name was? Yes, it was David. And he said to him, well, please, can you call your son? So Samuel asked Jesse, call your son. So Jesse sent out, and when David came in, he looked a bit smelly. He'd been in the field. He was dirty, and he was a short little boy, and he had kind of gingerish hair, but he had a harp, and he had a stick, and he had, guess what he had? A sling. You see, you don't have a sling here, but you know what he used to do with that sling, Felix? He used to chase wild animals away. Sometimes wolves would come and they would try and eat the sheep, and then you pick a stone up and you put it in his sling, and he would frighten the wolves away. And we even told that one day a lion tried to eat his sheep, and you know what happened? Do you know what happened? Well, David took a stone, put it in the sling, and he flung it, and he actually killed the lion with a sling. Can you imagine that, Felix? Anyway, so David comes walking in, and God says to Samuel in his ear, Samuel, people look on the outside when they look at people, like you looked at Saul, you thought he was a handsome king. But I don't look on the outside, I look on the inside. Do you know what that means, Felix? It means that Jesus looks at our hearts. Would you like Jesus to look at your heart? You do? Are you not scared? Aren't you not scared? Why? Is it because you've got a good heart? Well, I think maybe you've got a good heart, but you know what is interesting? I know why you're not scared to give your heart, to let Jesus look at your heart, is because you gave your heart to Jesus. Isn't that true? Well, children, you must remember, when Jesus looks at us, he never looks at the outside, Felix. He always looks what's going on in our hearts. Do you understand that? Okay, well, anyway, Samuel looks, and God says, that's the man I want you to anoint, and he anoints David. And David leaves the room there, and he goes back to the field, and he sings, la, 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 la. And guess what? One of the songs was, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And he goes off away into the field. But one day, Jesse, while David was in the field, he said, David! And David came running because he was always obedient to his father. And his dad said to him, listen, David, I want you to go to your brothers. Now, do you know where his brothers were? Well, there was a war between Philistines and the Israelites. And they were camped, the Israelites were on the one side and the Philistines were on the other side. And David's brothers, because they were the old brothers, they were all there and serving in the army, you know that? And David, his father called, David, come here. So David came, he said, I want you to go to your brothers and I want you to take them some food and some things. So he goes, he's so excited, he's going to see his brothers. Do you remember there was another young boy that his father called him and said to him, hey, you must go and give your brothers some food. Do you remember? Do you remember who that was? Can you tell me? Yes, it was Joseph. That's correct. Joseph, he had that jacket with lots of colors. But anyway, so David is all excited and he takes the food and he goes and he comes there and hears, hey, who do you think you are? And he looked and there he saw this man. This man was ginormous. He was big. He was the biggest man he's ever seen. And he was strong and he looked vicious. And David said, hey, who's that? And all the people said, well, that's Goliath. Goliath, who's Goliath? Well, he's one of the best warriors of the Philistines. And do you know that they'd agreed, Felix, that the Jewish people, the Israelites, had to send their best warrior, and the Philistines had sent their best warrior, and their best warrior was Goliath. And Goliath was taunting them, come on, send me your best warrior. I am going to make mincemeat out of him. And David was thinking, why doesn't anybody go and fight him? Who does he think he is? We serve God, and God would look after us. And he remembered how many times God had looked after him. And so he said to his brothers, why don't you go out and fight him? And they said, oh, look how tall he is, look how big he is, strong, he will kill us. And then we're in trouble because, whoever wins this battle, the losing nation has to serve the other nation. And I mean, look at the size of him, he will kill us. So anyway, David says, no, I'm not going to accept this. And he goes to King Saul, and he walks in and he says to King Saul, I'm willing to go out and fight against Goliath. I want to go and show him that, our God is greater than any other gods. And King Saul looks at him and he says, but aren't you scared? Look how tall he is. And David said, no, I will go in the name of the Lord. You know what that means, Felix? Yes, it means that when you go, you're asking Jesus to look after you. See, and you remember that if Jesus is in your heart, you are strong. Remember that. Anyway, so King Saul says, okay, and he puts his armor on David, and David, he can't even lift his arms up. The armor is so heavy, and he says to King Saul, no, I don't want to wear this, and he takes it off, and he says, all I need is my sling, and he says, I'm going to go and fight Goliath with the way that God has taught me. And Felix, that's very important. Children, Jesus gives us each one, he gives us a way in which we can do things. For example, like birds, he gave them feathers, Felix, so they could fly. And he gives fishes scales so they can swim. You see, God gives us all what we need in order to be what we are. And David knew that what he had fought lots of battles with, chasing lions and wolves away, he used his sling. So he goes out, and as he comes to Goliath, Goliath is mocking him. Have you sent a dog to me to come and fight me? I'm going to really tear him apart from limb. And David came out, and as he got down, now you know what was separating him and Goliath? There was this river, a brook. And as David got there, guess what he did, Felix? He bent down and he collected 1, 2, how many stones do you think he collected? 1 Samuel chapter 17 tells me he collected 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He collected 5 stones. I don't know why he collected 5 stones, Felix, because you only need 1 to do what you have to do. Isn't that true? But anyway, he collected 5 stones, and he put the other 4 stones in a little pouch that he had on the side, and he took 1 stone and he put it into his sling. And he says, I come to you in the name of God, the God of Israel, the one who is stronger than anybody else. And today I am going to defeat you. And Goliath, laughing, he says, I'm going to take my sword and my javelin. You know what a javelin is? Okay, it's another word for a spear. I'm going to take my sword and my spear, and I'm going to chop you to pieces and feed you to the birds of the air. And David says, I am going to slay you in the name of the Lord. And he puts the stone in the sling, and he starts to swing it round and round and round. And he throws the stone, and the stone flies, and it hits Goliath on the side of his head. And Goliath is stunned, and he falls. The big giant comes falling down to the ground. And as he falls to the ground, David runs up and takes Goliath's own sword and chops his head off. Isn't it amazing that this little boy was so courageous? And the reason why he was courageous is because he knew that Jesus was on his side. Do you want Jesus to be on your side? Of course, we need him to be on our side. Children, we need him to look after us. Now notice, children, we haven't sang any songs yet. And the reason why we haven't sang any songs is because Felix and I, do you remember Felix? We've been practicing a song which we want to sing to you at this time. We're going to sing it to them. And it's a song that we practice. And hopefully you will also learn the song and you'll be able to sing along. Wouldn't you like to do that? Okay, I almost called you David. You know, you got me so confused, Felix. Well, anyway, Felix, let's sing the song. Okay, you ready to sing it? Okay, let's sing it. Only a boy named David, only a little sling. Only a boy named David, but he could pray and sing. Only a boy named David, only a little brook. Only a boy named David, and 1, 2, 3, and 5 little stones he took. And one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round, and round and round, and round and round, and round and round and round. And one little stone went up in the air, and the giant came tumbling down. And the giant came tumbling, 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 tumbling down. Children, did you enjoy that song? Felix, did you enjoy it? Okay, we're not going to sing it again, children. But I think next time we get together, maybe we should sing it together then. Do you think so? Because then at least they can learn the song. I think that's what we should do for next time, okay? Well, children, thank you for being with us today. Have a nice afternoon. Remember to love your parents. Okay, bye. See you again tomorrow at 10. Bye.